failure of 2 U.S. banks.
Plus, more coverage from our mental health series, looking at behavioral health in schools. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Lexi Lepoff.
And I'm Andre Norrells. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting Southeastern Ohio. Governor Mike DeWine strongly suggests he will veto legislation increasing speed limits if his Republican colleagues pass it. The Ohio transportation budget will likely be voted on this week in the Senate. The Senate version of the transportation budget would increase speeds from 55 to 60 on highways outside cities and for 2-lane state routes from 60 to 65. DeWine points to data showing even just a 5-mile-an-hour increase can cause more fatal crashes. The transportation budget must be signed by March 31st. Ohio Governor and Lieutenant Governor announces the approval for projects to create over 200 new jobs. Altogether, $10.1 million in new payroll and $4.4 million in investments are expected from these projects. These new projects include job retainment of 165 jobs in the Chillicothe area. The Chillicothe Gazette reports companies like Stars Auto Body to create 150 plus full-time positions and Vinyl Craft Acquisitions to create 70 plus. All of this comes after the Ohio Tax Credit Authority reviewed economic development proposals brought to the board by Jobs Ohio.
Good afternoon, Southeastern Ohio Newswatch forecaster Jacob Van Cleve in Athens today. You'll notice current year temperatures are sitting at 51 degrees, and that's just been the quite consistency that we've seen throughout the entirety of today, as well following with those overcast skies. Now, as we move into what we see throughout the entirety of our region, it's not just us that are dealing with this, as with Athens 50 degrees currently, and then you have those cloudy conditions. Now down south in Charleston here, you'll also see they're just slightly warmer, and then up north here, you'll see in Columbus, they're sitting at 49 degrees. Still, those cloudy conditions remaining in our region. Now the big thing to talk about here is that overnight lows will be dropping to 51. Not a big change with temperatures, but the big change is going to be rain. We're going to see a lot of bands coming through in our region, and it's going to be continuous through the next several days because we have this main system here in our region, and you'll see down here this system here is moving up southerly, and then the big thing is across country here. Now all this is eventually going to make our way into the region, but the first thing to talk about is this region here moving in through Ohio, and you'll see that'll bring us our rain chance tonight. I'll have more on our weather coming up.
Ohio University officially hired their 23rd president. Chloe G. Workman has the story.
Lori Stewart Gonzalez will be the first female president for the university. Gonzalez joins Ohio from the University of Louisville, where she serves as the executive vice president and the provost. But she is no stranger to Appalachia.
In the coming months, I'll be all over the university. I'll be all over the state, and I'll be talking with people in the community to find out what they expect of our university and what they expect of their 23rd president. It'll be a joy to meet all those people. I want to hear their concerns, I want to hear their passions, and I want to hear all their excitement about OU. I'm very excited about that.
Stewart Gonzalez will succeed Hugh Sherman, whose contract ends June 30th, according to the university. One of the biggest questions is how she will handle the university's budget crisis that led to the layoff of 140 employees in 2020. Some staff say Stewart Gonzalez will have to work hard to rebuild trust.
So I think with me and probably many others across the university, for those of us that came back, we still kind of hold back a little because we know what has happened in the past.
Stewart Gonzalez says one of her first priorities will be looking closely at the financial health of the university.
We want to make sure that we have a firm financial basis so that we can offer incredible programming to our students, that we can continue going down the path of discovery and research.
One of her main focuses remains on the students, and she plans to make her support known throughout the university.
You just get out with the students because then you can find out not just what their major is or where their hometown is, but really what their passion is and what sparks them, because they're our future.
For Newswatch, I'm Chloe G. Workman.
Stewart Gonzalez will begin on July 1st. In the meantime, she'll be working with Hugh Sherman to prepare for the transition.
Coming up on Newswatch, delays in grand jury proceedings in New York involving former President Trump. Plus, a look at how local schools in southeastern Ohio are addressing mental health. These stories and more when we return.
On Secrets of the Dead, Ferdinand Magellan sails in search of a western sea route to the Spice Islands.
To Christian Europeans, the 16th century will be the age of discovery.
But the Europeans have not discovered anything at all.
There were rebellions and mutinies, and he really had his share of troubles.
It's a tremendous feat of human endurance.
Magellan's Crossing on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves. You know, I don't go anywhere without my passport. And now, thanks to PBS Passport, you can travel with me and watch all 10 seasons of Rick Steves Europe and all my travel specials. This exclusive streaming service is just for our members. Not only can you see all my shows, but you can see thousands of hours of your favorite public television shows. Become a member today and get your passport.
In the heart of North America, there is wild country. These are the Rocky Mountains, one of the most challenging places to grow up in on Earth. Here, the young must quickly learn the rules of their tribe to find their place. Journey from the American Southwest to the Canadian Arctic. Discover what it's like to be born in the Rockies.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
The Maya built great cities,
terraces, road systems, it's a perfect planned city.
And then abandoned them. Can new discoveries reveal why?
And then, bam, we have these huge deposits.
It is completely unique. There's nothing like it.
There's a history behind those artifacts, a culture we want to know better. The Maya are still here.
Ancient Maya Metropolis on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
The Federal Reserve is raising interest rates this coming days after the failure of 2 U.S. banks. Mike Valerio has more on what several are expecting to minimal hike in aiding stabilization in financial markets.
The U.S. Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 25 basis points Wednesday. It comes just 10 days after the Biden administration took emergency actions to stifle the fallout from 2 bank failures.
History has shown that isolated banking problems, if left unaddressed, can undermine confidence in healthy banks and threaten the ability of the banking system as a whole.
While at the same time, inflation continued to show signs of easing last month.
They're between a rock and a hard place. They're very concerned if they don't do enough, it'll look like they're not fighting inflation, which has consequences. If they do too much and affect the economy too much when banks are a little bit rocky, they could cause a little more trouble in confidence in the banking system.
Since last March, the Fed has pushed interest rates higher to make borrowing more expensive and cool spending. Annual inflation was down to 6% in February from a 40-year high of 9.1% last June. The Fed's target inflation rate is 2%. The labor market remains strong, keeping labor costs high for companies. Potential future Fed rate increases will continue to push borrowing costs and purchase prices higher for consumers.
Inflation remains too high, and the labor market continues to be very tight. Price stability is the responsibility of the Federal Reserve. Without price stability, the economy does not work for anyone.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
The Manhattan grand jury hearing evidence in the hush money case against former President Trump will not meet today. They had been expected to consider an indictment against Trump for his alleged roles in payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has suggested at least one witness in the past day might need to provide more testimony to the grand jury. A decision on charges is expected any day. Trump denies the affair and all wrongdoing. House and Senate Democrats spoke in Washington, D.C. today for World Water Day to discuss the Environmental Justice for All Act. The act was recently introduced and renamed to reflect the work of late Democratic Congressman A. Donald McEachin of Virginia. The Democrats spoke on the importance of the act in regards to the economic and social justice. This comes as World Water Day celebrates the importance of fresh and clean water worldwide. There's also a United Nations Water Conference beginning today in New York. It's ongoing at the UN headquarters through Friday. The 2023 World Water Development Report launched today as well to give an outlook on water and sanitation issues around the world.
The U.S. is modernizing and reforming its organ transplant system with a new network. The Department of Health and Human Services is introducing a new organ procurement and transplantation network with a new data dashboard. The data dashboard will provide details about individual transplant centers, organ retrievals, and wait lists. The nonprofit United Network for Organ Sharing currently manages the national system. It has been criticized for its handling of organs, long wait lists, and deaths among patients. More than 100,000 Americans are on the wait list for a new organ, and about 6,000 Americans die each year waiting for one. This week on Newswatch, our reporters are taking a deep dive into mental health. With an uptick in dysregulated and atypical behavior, the Athens City School District is hoping it can see improvements in numbers by providing support earlier. Newswatch reporter Emma Dallin-Mayer is live in studio to tell us what the district is doing to assess behavioral health at the elementary and middle school level.
That's right, Andre. The district is actually working with a new employee to better help children who may be showing signs of atypical and dysregulated behavior. I spoke with administration to learn more.
The landscape of education is very much changing.
Kat Harrelson, a former Columbus City Schools employee, is helping change behavior responses in Athens City classrooms.
I work with schools to support students who are having challenges and a lot of dysregulation in the district, and also working with teachers to help look at ways we can support those students to be more successful.
Her position is the first of its kind in the district, created as a response to children's atypical behavior heightened by the pandemic. Athens City Schools Superintendent Tom Gibbs says the district is focusing more on behavioral health after seeing a 3 to 4% increase in students needing serious behavioral support.
We use some ESSER funds, actually, some American Recovery Plan funds, to fund a position that's a behavior analyst type position.
The position requires Harrelson to complete behavioral assessments through observation, identify areas that may be of greater concern, and write behavior improvement plans for students with principals and teachers.
We're building the plane while we're flying it. Most districts don't have a position of that nature, and so we're kind of developing what the nature of that position is over the course of the year.
Harrelson says the biggest obstacle right now, though, while still navigating the newly implemented position, is engaging families in the conversation surrounding a child's behavioral health in and outside of the classroom.
It is a struggle because there's still that taboo of mental, we don't need those services. Or also, we don't have time because maybe two parents are working, and so they don't know how to go about getting connected with those services.
To help better connect families with needed services, Athens City Schools has a new partnership with Ohio Rise. The program is part of Governor Mike DeWine's push to improve equal access to behavioral health care for Ohioans. Harrelson hopes this new focus from state leaders and the school district will help her build and maintain relationships with the students, families, and the community.
I'm hoping that we are going to get to a capacity where we are able to support those relationships and help to be more proactive. It's just right now, it's after following the pandemic, it seems a little more reactive than it has in the past.
The district also added 2 additional school counselors this year. And Jack, I hear the high school is being more proactive in addressing mental health concerns at the level.
Emma, while a lot of high schools are seeing a high number of mental health referrals, a lot of school administrators are being actively working on ways to reduce the number of crises. At Athens High School, Principal Chad Springer is being more proactive about getting students the support they need when it comes to their mental health. They added a 3rd counselor to their staff over the summer, which, according to Springer, has increased the response time and has been beneficial to have someone on hand at any given time.
The sheer amount is still high,
We've seen some students overcome and adapt through a variety of working with staff, working with our school counselors, or having outside mental health counseling.
Outreach from peers is helping too, like a session last December between about 80 upperclassmen and an alum, Wyatt Cooper, whose brother died of an overdose. What was supposed to be just an hour?
It went into 2 hours because it was just the reality of use, abuse, unhealthy coping, body image included, and self-reflection, what people's self-esteem. And people related to that extremely well. The amount of feedback students gave me was unbelievable.
It encouraged Springer to keep that conversation going to his staff so that they can better help address mental health concerns.
This problem is not going away, and having a better educated staff is going to help.
Other schools are also being proactive, implementing various other programs to address mental health concerns. Over at Eastern High School, administrators implemented Students Assistance Planning Committee to talk about students who get referrals from parents and teachers and address their needs. The school wants to create an environment of open and honest communication.
Anybody in the education profession, I don't care if you're a cook, a custodian, whoever, it is your job to always try to maintain a positive environment and build relationships.
Springer spoke about Governor DeWine's proposed budget, stating while he appreciates the additional funding to expand the counseling workforce, the lack of personnel in the area is still a major concern.
Thank you, Jack, for the insight. If you are struggling with mental health, call or text 988 or contact your local provider. Ohio University students can connect with counseling and psychological services on the phone or online. We'll have more stories on mental health all week, and you can listen to The Outlet on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Music for in-depth interviews with the reporters. And for even more information, you can read written contact at woub.org. Coming up, California is battered by another round of storms. That story still ahead.
That's right, Lexi. Weather coast to coast, and you're going to see that here in southeastern Ohio. I'll have more on that when we come back from the break. In the meantime, check us out on social media. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
In the heart of North America, there is wild country. These are the Rocky Mountains, one of the most challenging places to grow up in on Earth. Here, the young must quickly learn the rules of their tribe to find their place. Journey from the American Southwest to the Canadian Arctic. Discover what it's like to be born in the Rockies.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift of securities is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
The Maya built great cities.
Terraces, road systems, it's a perfect planned city.
And then abandoned them. Can new discoveries reveal why?
And then, bam, we have these huge deposits.
It is completely unique. There's nothing like it.
There's a history behind those artifacts, a culture we want to know better. The Maya are still here.
Ancient Maya Metropolis on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
American Masters profiles artists on the rise. Janae Bridges breaks down barriers in opera.
I am channeling every queen with this role.
While Reese Palmer carves out her own space in the country world.
I want to make music that matters.
See how they use their voices to inspire change.
It makes me feel like I'm making a difference.
On American Masters.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back, Southeastern Ohio. Like I said, today you saw those temperatures are going to stay just where they are, with our high of 55 degrees today, dropping down to 51 degrees overnight. Now, those mostly cloudy skies are going to continue as we continue throughout the night and through the remainder of the week. You'll see this is the cloud system that's brought us a bunch of that cloud coverage that sit here and parked itself in our region. Now, there is going to be a slight break with that overnight, but I do expect this system here that's sitting over Illinois, making its way into Indiana, and then eventually here in Ohio, that's going to bring us our rain chances as we move in tonight. Now, the remainder of the rain threat for the rest of the day is just centered around this whole region of the United States. And, you got Missouri, you got Illinois, and you got parts of Indiana that are going to have the most risk when it comes to heavier rainfall or even the chance for some thunder and lightning. But here in southeastern Ohio, you see we're just in this darker gray region. That's just because we're going to have those rain totals as they move through in our region. Now, it says a 60% chance overnight with those lower temperatures of 51 degrees. This temperature change is going to remain, but as we move in tomorrow, we'll see an actual significant increase in temperatures as we are caught in the warm sector of this storm. Now, what I mean by the warm sector, this is where all the rain is currently on our radar, and as I play our future model cast, you'll see this storm system is going to move on across east, bring a lot of rain to the Cleveland region, and then at the very end of this model loop, you'll see this now turns almost linear, and that's because we have that cold front system moving through the region. Now, we're going to have those warmer temperatures, high of 71 degrees, but then eventually that cold front, that linear front that I showed over that 24-hour radar scan, you'll see 45 degrees. That's what it's going to drop to overnight. Now, those rain showers are going to stay here for the remainder of the next couple days because we're going to be constantly hit with system after system. And the main thing to talk about right now is tomorrow, that low pressure system with that satellite imagery that I showed, bringing it this way with that slight chance of rain, that's just going to sit right here and it's going to slowly propagate eastward. Now, we're in that warmer sector, so tomorrow those temperatures with a high of 72, 73, you're going to see that because this whole section is going to be much more warmer, and then you'll have the colder air mass sitting there. Now, as we move into tomorrow night, you'll see this front now moves closer southerly, and that's us right here in southeastern Ohio. Big chance of the rain is going to be just north of the Cleveland, Pittsburgh region, even some snow up there towards Toronto, but that cold front eventually move on through, bring us those colder temperatures. That low is going to sit right over there, and then it's just going to bring a bunch of rain towards the western portion of the country and leave us and sit here and bring us rain again as we move in through the week. Now, like I mentioned, you'll see those rain chances are going to sit there Thursday, Friday, Saturday as that system just parks itself right there. We'll have a break in the weather on Sunday there with those temperatures being still 62, relatively warm with cooler overnight temperatures. But then as we move in through the rest of the weekend into next week, rain returns, and then we'll eventually have that snow totals moving into Wednesday, because eventually that cold front pushes on through, brings us our rain chances still in the region as another system moves through, but also those colder temperatures, and that's why we're going to see that snow here in southeastern Ohio. That's all I have for full weather. Back to you, Andre.
Thanks, Jake. California is experiencing a damaging storm cycle, leaving around 115,000 homes without power from fallen trees and power lines. Laura Aguirre has the latest on the flooding, high winds, and rising mountain snow leaving damage.
The San Francisco area was hit particularly hard in the latest wave of unrelenting rain and high winds overnight. This semi-truck toppled in strong gusts, sweeping the Bay Bridge. The driver climbed out on his own.
Pretty crazy. Saw some boats tilting across the waves.
In one case, big boats. At least 3 commercial barges broke loose and smashed into one of the city's historic bridges.
How they ended up in the channel, I'm not quite sure.
In the Bay Area, authorities say 2 people were killed in separate cases of trees falling on vehicles. Here in San Bernardino County, an SUV washed away into a tree. Fire officials there say the driver managed to climb out before waves swept his car downriver. Across the state, several cities have seen up to 200% jumps in rainfall this winter. One upshot, the U.S. Drought Monitor says the state's drought conditions have eased dramatically since December, from more than 80% of the state considered severe or worse, down to just 8%. Mountain snowfall is at near record highs in some areas. In the Sierra Nevadas, the Berkeley Central Sierra Snow Lab says it's the second snowiest season since they started tracking in 1946, with another 3 to 4 feet dumped there since Tuesday.
The snowpack's expected to stick around probably into July, if not into August at this point.
Meaning the slopes could be busy all through summer. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
A large blob of a naturally occurring seaweed called sargassum may be finding its way to popular vacation destinations. Sargassum is potentially dangerous to humans, and the blob is currently twice the width of the continental U.S. It's guessed to be making its way to the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico by summer and to Florida by July. Officials are advising to avoid touching or swimming near the seaweed when in an area with potential sargassum. Because of the smell, people with asthma or problems with hydrogen sulfide should avoid the area containing the seaweed. Summit this year. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up next on your public television station.
In the heart of North America, there is wild country. These are the Rocky Mountains, one of the most challenging places to grow up in on Earth. Here, the young must quickly learn the rules of their tribe to find their place. Journey from the American Southwest to the Canadian Arctic. Discover what it's like to be born in the Rockies.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a charitable gift annuity is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
American Masters profiles artists on the rise. Janae Bridges breaks down barriers in opera,
I am channeling every queen with this role.
while Reese Palmer carves out her own space in the country world.
I want to make music that matters.
See how they use their voices to inspire change.
It makes me feel like I'm making a difference.
On American Masters.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
The Maya built great cities
Terraces, road systems, it's a perfect planned city.
and then abandoned them. Can new discoveries reveal why?
And then, bam, we have these huge deposits.
It is completely unique. There's nothing like it.
There's a history behind those artifacts, a culture we want to know better. The Maya are still here.
Ancient Maya Metropolis on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
And finally tonight, the Ohio University Music Summit is coming to Athens this month. The annual event will have networking and professional opportunities for attendees. Panel interviews are planned with successful musicians and the music industry professionals. Hip-hop artist Talib Kweli joins the summit as a keynote artist, along with indie pop artist MXM Tune. The free events will happen April 5th through the 6th. For more information, go to ohio.edu/Music Industry Summit. That is pretty cool that they put on this free event for the students. You know, we don't got a lot of money around here.
Exactly. Have you guys been to this event before?
I have not, no. How about you guys? No?
No, I might have to check it out though. Seems
Well,
pretty
hopefully
cool.
it's indoors. I'm assuming it is because we are expecting a lot of that rain coming into our region.
Oh, gosh.
And if there's any rain with an outdoor event, you know it's going to be
Exactly.
canceled.
Yeah.
Now, I know if you look at our actual weather going on right now across the country, there's rain across the coast from coast to coast. Big thing to talk about right now is just south of us here, that storm system and cloud cover. We're going to have another system sitting over at Chicago right now in Illinois, moving its way eastward as we have our frontal system that's going to park itself, bringing us a bunch of rain. Now, Athens tonight, your temperature low is going to be 51 degrees, and that shower's chance is going to come in when that front hits us. And we can see as it moves into tomorrow, it's going to drop our temperatures overnight, but we're going to have a quite bit of warming with a high of 71 degrees tomorrow. Now, that frontal system will finally move through, drop those temperatures overnight, but nothing crazy as we have a slight warming, but that rain is going to park itself there. It's going to stay here for the next couple days. Give us a break Sunday, but then we'll have more rain Monday, and then cooler temperatures followed behind that.
And that does it for our broadcast for this evening. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Newswatch, I'm Lexi Laplaw.
And I'm Andra Neural. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can always find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and Parkersburg, focusing on helping people achieve a life well lived with a custom strategy.